Man, we done came back in 2 weeks. Yeah, I know I'm loud. I don't care. We don't need that. Audio's overrated, dude. When you can speak from here to the Himalayas, it don't matter. Just let me be. Let me be my own person.
I'll fix that later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't need all that. Microphone's overrated. You just speak up, say, Patrick, what up?
Did you see that red that's over there?
Oh, yeah, it is kind of red.
Keep talking. I got it. We'll do it on the fly.
No, yeah, we just do it on the fly. Take after take. Carl Prather, producer Pat, on the ones and twos. We're back for a second straight week. We won't do this again until 2029. So just go ahead and be prepared. We're going to space them out.
Did we do one last week?
We did.
What did we talk about last week?
Final Four. We talked to recap the tournament. We talked about Gino.
Right.
We talked about the great Don Staley, the great Gino Auriemma, them fighting, a kerfuffle that they had. Did I say that right?
Kerfuffle, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it means. Is that just
like an altercation?
You way smarter than I am. It just sounded good when I said
You are still in the red, and we are at -11. Keep talking. Oh, that's me now.
See what I'm saying? It's not me.
One day we'll figure this out.
It's WrestleMania week. Yeah, I said WrestleMania. You think we just going to talk about sports all the time? We don't even talk about it in the first place, much less every week that we attempt to do this podcast for all of our 7 listeners. But Patrick, we're going to have a little fun today. I get excited because this is kind of a childhood fun memory, walk down memory lane. No matter who you are, whether you are a wrestling fan, a fan of the sport, whether you are not a fan of the sport, whether you are a casual observer, you know at least one wrestler in your life via pop culture, whether you watch it, whether you watch any of the wrestling organizations that we have in the United States and or beyond, but you know somebody. Something looks familiar. So we're just going to have fun. Listen, spring games, we could talk about Alabama spring game. We could talk about Auburn this Saturday, but let's be real. None of them are on TV. You don't know what you don't know. We kind of have an idea of like who the quarterback will be for Auburn, but it's a glorified practice. The end. We'll see you in July for SEC Media Days. But, of course, we'll talk college football and whatnot as we move into the summer months and spring, later in the spring. But, yeah, this is WrestleMania week, man. Here's what we'll start with. What made you fall in love with the sport of pro wrestling when you were a wee lad? And then we'll just go from there.
I don't know. I think growing up in the South, that you just everyone has some kind of story, right? I mean, this is a hotbed for professional wrestling love. Talking about, go all the way to Memphis and Jerry Lawler. Like, there's a lot of history around these parts. And then as I was coming up, I was a little bit past, I was a little too young for the Attitude Era. But the Ruthless Aggression, sort of the rise of John Cena, Batista's still one of my favorites, by the way.
You're obsessed with that dude.
Batista's
you legitimately think he's like arguably one of the greatest talents in
Batista's the man, dude. Everyone knows.
Hold on. For what reasons? You have to give, there's valid reasons.
Valid reason. Look.
Great look. Incredible look.
Outstanding look. Entrance. Awesome. The thigh slap, the pyro. And he's just a big dude powerbombing people, man. Like, that was just cool. You can go back and look up Batista circa like 2004.
Look how he's smiling.
Pops. The man's music hits, and everyone from the grandmas to the kids, everybody loves it.
But the grandma's in love because of what they seeing on the screen when he's coming through Gorilla. That's why.
And he is the best wrestler turned actor of all time.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not even close.
Well, is it because
this dude, he's in actual artistic movies.
Okay, man.
It's not Hulk Hogan and
Mr. Nanny?
Mr. Nanny, yeah.
Classic. Well, here's what I will say about that. Dave Batista, never met the man, don't know the man. I respect all performers in this sport. But is it just because he has had more serious roles? But like, here's the question I'll ask you. Rock's last role, can it arguably be better than anything he's ever done?
Yeah, but
do you get what I'm saying?
But Batista has done.
Rock done made all the money.
Since him.
Rock done made all of it. You are a cinema man. Like, when I think of, it's 2 people in this building. There's a young lady named Kim that's all about movies, and this dude. The Rock that made $75 billion, that made every blockbuster, that did all the movies, everything. The kids, all of the Moana, like he'll live in infamy because just of Moana alone. Forget everything else. That man does the UFC thing. Maybe better than anything that Dave is in. I don't know, because I don't know what, outside of what, Guardians of the Galaxy, is that what Dave is in?
There's that. He's in Blade Runner 2079. He's in Dune.
You watch any of those?
Yes, dude. Lots of people have seen this movie. Art, cinema. See, it's cinema. Batista's in cinema.
I can't say much because this summer we're going to go through it. We're going to go through over 100 movies that Carl has never watched because I don't watch movies. I don't know why.
I'm going to be honest with you. I got 2 small kids right now. I also don't watch a lot of movies anymore.
Yeah, bro. I mean, if it's not, see, what is Blake is 8. Blake still rocks with Bluey. But he's, think about it, hot dog, hot diggity dog with the Mickey Mouse. Like, we went from that. Now we're into Beyblades, and he's 8.
Yeah.
He's into the kid friendly anime. He's into
Pokemon.
That. Loves Pokemon. Loves Beyblades. Loves but all of the action stuff. That's what he's all about. Well, rightfully so. He's a little boy. That's the next progression of his.
Yeah.
But yes. Back to our wrestling conversation before we kind of get into WrestleMania and just our observations and takes on this weekend, 2-night event, Saturday and Sunday, Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium. I like Dave Batista. I will be honest with you. I was more, as I was in high school, I watched more WCW at the time. That was really basically solely what I watched. Everyone talks about, was it 83 or 88 weeks, whatever it was, 83 weeks? 82 weeks. So I watched all of Nitro. I never turned over to that 2 to 4 year span up until the end. And it's funny for wrestling fans, you vividly remember Tony Schiavone basically mentioned who Mankind, which is Mick Foley, won the heavyweight title, and I turned it over. And that's kind of was the start, much like everyone else was the start of everyone kind of turning back over to WWE. But yeah, I wasn't a ruthless aggression guy. Like there was a lot so when people discuss the great John Cena, I didn't see the great John Cena as he was coming through, like Thugonomics and all that. I never watched any of that. I was riding NWO until literally every wheel, hubcap, piece of clothing came off of that long run with Hulk Hogan and company. So no, I don't. All those guys, I don't know. See, when people discuss CM Punk, I don't remember CM Punk because I never watched that moment. I vividly remember the Royal Rumble. WWE has a YouTube channel, and every so often when they have some of their big PLEs or show, they have just a streaming of all of the events. So by chance, it was one day before I was coming into work, and I happened to see one of the Royal Rumbles during Ruthless Aggression. I believe it was like Maven had threw Undertaker over the top. But there were so many superstars that I had never even heard of or don't even remember, or just seeing them when they were starting up early in their career. So no, Dave was great. I truly appreciated, for me, I appreciated Dave when he came back for the second run. Yeah. For the quick amount of time. So that was great. I will tell you, 43 years old, my love and affinity for professional wrestling is really deep rooted. I think I got a lot of it from my mom. My dad never was a big sports person, but my mom was born in Arkansas, right outside of Memphis, on the state line. And her mom and her dad used to take her to the Mid-South Coliseum and watch, all of the Mid-South cards. So there was all the time where she would go watch Jerry Lawler and Jackie Fargo and the original Fabulous Ones and see all the guys come through that territory. And then for us, and for those that may not know, our sister station in Memphis, WMC, they did a lot of the Mid-South wrestling cards. The great Lance Russell and all of the Mid-South wrestling at that time was housed in that building. So a lot of illustrious history, and people in Memphis in that Mid-South area. Jerry Lawler is as beloved as one may mention a national figure like a Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold, John Cena, Ric Flair. So I was more of a kind of a territory guy. And for those that don't know what territories are, basically back in the day before I was even thought about, states and regions of the country had wrestling organizations, and they ran their own respective businesses, and you had a commission, and you had kind of a board of directors. So long story short, you can kind of deep dive this. Wrestling fans that are going to listen to this, understand it and know it. But what I wanted to ask you, it's always hard for me to mention like who would be my top 5 favorite wrestlers. I I would have to seriously think some like long days about that. I will tell you, Terry Bollea, the late Hulk Hogan, was one of my, if not my favorite, just because he was such larger than life.
Yeah.
All outside the square circle.
Is there a caveat?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's caveat. Outside the square circle, I don't know about it. But him and Sting, tag teams, I love the Doom. The Road Warriors are my favorite tag team of all time. But for you, just men and or women that really stick out to you as far as just favorite performers and superstars of all time.
Sting is up there.
Yeah, man.
Because I remember that my really first foray into pro wrestling was those Nitro days.
Yeah.
And seeing the Silver Surfer Sting turn into the Crow Sting with the black and white. Like, I remember that pretty vividly. So he's up there. Kurt Angle is up there for me. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love Kurt.
Underrated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Still doesn't get enough flowers.
Ric Flair. Obviously,
He's one of my
it's
favorites.
hard to have a Mount Rushmore of wrestling without Flair.
Correct.
Just the amount of, keep in mind, he didn't spend that much time in WWE. He was strictly a territory WCW guy. So for him to have the staying power that he has, I mean, there are songs, Ric Flair Drip. He's in music videos with Bad Bunny. Like, also a guy who's out of the ring life, a little bit tumultuous to say the least. As you break more of the equipment, we can't get the sound right. We can't get the equipment right.
That's what made. That's why we had this. Listen, that's why we
off the cuff.
That's why we are. In, people love the 7 people. They love our shtick because that's all we do is break stuff.
But yeah, Flair's up there. Shawn Michaels, Macho Man. I mean, gosh, it's hard. Like CM Punk in Ring of Honor. It's Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, however you want, Kenny Omega. Like, there are just a ton. There's too many.
Look how he's smiling. See,
too many.
That makes him happy.
Yeah.
Mudge and Patrick just go walking down memory lane. I never watched any Ring of Honor. That's the thing. I never watched any Ring of Honor. So I didn't know Bryan Danielson until I would say he kind of had his run in WWE at the time. But no, I didn't watch Ring of Honor. I didn't watch TNA, the exception of TNA. I never watched
AJ Styles.
So I didn't know I didn't know AJ Styles like that. But I think my love affair and just I had a subscription from first grade through probably fourth grade of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and it was 2 issues a month. The great Bill Apter, who's still alive to this very day, still taking photos at ringside and stuff. But yeah, he had a magazine. I still have some of those magazines. I have to go home and check them out. But I was in it so much. I mean, my mom and my dad, I was fortunate enough, they used to buy the Coliseum video, big box WWF videos, and I would watch those. But yeah, I think the guys that you mentioned, the Flairs and the Stings and Randy and Hogan and stuff, the NWA, if I had to choose, WWF was awesome at the time, the WWF. But man, there was just something about the NWA and that I just love the characters. I love I'm not going to say gritty, but we mentioned when we were talking about AEW when Tony had got that organization started, it was almost like it was a really good alternative. It was solely about the wrestling, where WWF, it was about the wrestlers, but the larger than life figures in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And the business part of wrestling is what really kind of propelled Vince McMahon Jr. to take this sport to another level. But yeah, I remember in the 80s were just the late 80s and early 90s, because I was 6 in 89. So, when you get to, 90, 91, you start really, really remembering it and stuff. And that was right at the end of the NWA, maybe kind of going into the 1990s and maybe not having the luster that it did in the 80s and those Great American Bashes and all those, the Mid-Atlantic days and the Florida Championship Wrestling that would kind of funnel into NWA wrestling. And you mentioned Ric Flair. What makes him so great, why people have such an affinity for it. It's one thing to be a character outside of the ring. It's another thing that the man traveled the entire world and wrestled and took the original NWA title and legitimately defended it across the country and went to all of these territories. And that was the one thing that was really cool about, at that time, there were no cell phones. There were no social media. It was word of mouth. And to fill these houses and these gyms and these arenas, to make tremendous amount of money with a man that went from Mid-South Wrestling. Like I've watched a video. You wrestling diehards understand. There are videos of Ric Flair coming to Memphis and challenging Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
I've seen him go. One of my favorite matches of all time is a Parade of Champions match in Texas Stadium, old Texas Stadium. It's Kerry Von Erich and it's Ric Flair, and that card and just where he went everywhere. And you mentioned it. Had a falling out with NWA, WCW at that time. Went to go wrestle for Vince. Arguably the greatest Royal Rumble of all time. That pay-per-view as the first man in, last man out. That was an amazing 2-year run for him. Great match in WrestleMania 8 with him and Randy Savage in Indianapolis, and the storylines they had leading into that. So yeah, you're right. I personally enjoyed the late 80s and early 90s. And I will be honest, I still listen to wrestling podcasts. I still, from time to time, I do my best I record all of the shows that are available to us currently right now, whether it's TNA, whether that's WWE, whether that is AEW, or is that it? Did I name everybody?
Yeah.
I named it. Okay. I will be honest, because obviously life is lifing. We don't have the opportunity to watch it as much, Patrick, like we did from start to finish, the 3 hours when we were kids. But, I have such an affinity and a love affair with performers and their stories and how hard that craft is. But I try to, I record them all. Do I fast forward through a majority? Yeah. But what I'll try to do is, as we lead into bigger shows and stuff, I try to watch. We mentioned and we were discussing it. AEW had a big pay-per-view on Saturday, had a huge moment last night that we'll get into momentarily. But for you, how much, percentage-wise, relative to what it was before Baby's Kid got involved, and Amanda and everybody, like how much were you watching, and like relative to now, what are you watching?
I was watching everything, and now I don't watch. Yeah, I don't watch anything.
We ain't got no. Hey, let me tell y'all something.
I keep up with it, like you said, but
we keep up with it. Ooh, these babies be babying, these wives be wiving.
I'll get back
these
into
jobs
it.
be jobbing.
Wrestling is one of the things you do kind of, you have moments in your life, you fall into it, you fall out of it.
You do.
But it's always there.
There's
always something that brings you back.
It's because you have a love affair.
It's in your blood.
It's something that'll make you fall in love with it. Okay, so switching gears before we get into WrestleMania and WrestleMania week, I don't know what it is. It's going to sound really crazy. I get so excited as we head into the summer months for football, because I'm a sicko, for especially college football. And I go through all these rosters and I'm trying to make sure I know players and depth charts and offensive line and defensive line, this, that, and when Super Bowl week gets here, I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. But it's something unique about big events. But it's something about that WrestleMania and how ingrained it is, especially for a wrestling fan like ourselves. But how much is ingrained in pop culture. Now with TKO having the partnership for 5 years, starting with year one with ESPN, it's going to be at the forefront. They have immersed and integrated the sport and wrestling entertainment into all things ESPN. So we see a lot of them now during the last 2 weeks, especially this week. Just imagine what it looked like 40 years ago for WrestleMania relative to now, just the week. It's as big as the Super Bowl. Press junkets, media day. The wrestlers are doing all of their press and media junkets today. They're going around the gamut in Las Vegas somehow, some way. For you, wrestlers that have either caught your eye, a talent that you're excited to see, or favored wrestlers, tag, singles that you really truly believe, like, man, this man or woman, they got it, they're next. Hard to say.
In WWE, it's hard, and I think this will probably hit on a criticism that some people have.
That's okay, because guess what? Look, they've been criticized a whole hell lot the last 3 weeks.
A lot of old guys.
The resurgence of the old guys.
Yeah, the CM Punks, the Cody Rhodes, these are not spring chickens. Like,
no.
You go and look at the WrestleMania roster that's happening today versus like 20 years ago. A lot of them dudes 20 years ago, early 30s, late 20s. Now, all these dudes are pushing 40. Like, if I asked you, you would probably say guys like Trick Williams, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You would probably say guys like Carmelo Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
Trick Williams, I know, has a match. I do not believe Carmelo Hayes has
Carmelo, looking on this really quick, Carmelo does not have a match Saturday or Sunday.
If you want to talk about Logan Paul, like, okay, I Show Speed is in there. Jelly Roll has a spot. Like, I don't from a business standpoint, it's obviously in good health.
Yeah.
I don't know if from a creative standpoint, even though it is big and it is everywhere, I don't know if it has the same stranglehold on the culture the way it did even in the 80s when Hogan and Savage were in their heyday.
Does a lot of it have to do with just the saturation of all things media that we have?
I think is a fracturing of content, yes.
Yep.
I do think, though, it's either something creatively or I think it could just be a talent problem as well. Like, I don't know how some of these guys of today stack up to. Now, some sound like an old head when I say that.
Yeah.
To stack up to the guys of the guys of yesteryear.
Patrick, I will say this. I think we had this discussion. We were on the road somewhere a few years ago. No, I don't know what it was. It was right before Roman Reigns and the Bloodline really started taking off. We were somewhere. We were at some football game or something. And I said this to you and said it to our homeboy Corey, your very good friend. A guy like The Miz, right? If we were to transform and put The Miz back in the late 80s or early 90s, he'd be, in my opinion, his work rate, what he does, his character, he would be as big as any of the other guys. Do I believe a main eventer? I don't know that, but I believe he would be just a face that everyone would have known at that time. I say that to say, I think it has a lot to do with how deep the roster pool is. That heading into that run that Roman had as he got his proverbial footing within the Bloodline and Paul Heyman. Personal opinion that knows nothing about the inner workings of wrestling, just an observer. I just think that I don't know if we've ever had a deeper collection of talent in the WWE. So much so that it's so much that they don't know. In my opinion, from a creative standpoint, they're doing their very best to find prospects from the collegiate standpoint to get into NXT and whatnot, to be able to develop that and almost have it as a farm system, as we all know. But then to be able to transition that into your shows that you have is very difficult. And I don't know if we've had, because when I was a kid, and once again, no disrespect, dude, when I was a kid, how many WWF then superstars or WCW or NWO house shows that would come on TV and the main character was fighting a guy they were squashing? Like it was a no-name guy, right? Fans now, when they're wrestling other stars all the time. And I think that has a lot to do with the development of men and women in this sport, has a lot to do with the talent level, the athletic ability. Talents are able to do more in this day and age. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I think the talent pool is extremely deep. Now, the developmental part of it all and the angles and stuff like that goes a long way. That's what we have to try to figure out as we kind of head into WrestleMania. I'm going to say something. It's the hottest take of hottest takes, and I really have been sitting on this. There have been 3 or 4 guys and 3 or 4 women. I'm not going to mention them, but I'm going to mention the guy that I want to talk about today that I really truly believe made me feel something, made me believe he or she were money, a draw, and a draw outside the square circle. And the one thing I will even remember, even when I was a kid, I remember the first time I saw Hunter, Triple H. I remember seeing him on a house show on a Saturday, and I was like, in his character and his shtick at the time, and I was like, his gimmick rather, and I was like, that dude's gonna be really good. I mean, obviously it turned out and he was good, but there's certain men and women that I'm really happy to be like, yeah, I think that this man or woman is gonna be good. But I want to say this, I'm 43 years old and loved this sport as long as I can remember to remember anything as a kid. And I truly believe, and I wanted to text some wrestling friends to ask them this, and I'm going to ask them tomorrow, Patrick. I don't think I've ever seen anyone, and this is big take, have the type of meteoric rise that Oba Femi has right now.
And he would be the one guy that I would say I would put all my chips on the table on that.
It's almost like I get serious, like when I talk about, here's what he reminds me of, and this is We're talking in squared circle, not outside of squared circle. I want to ask those that were high schoolers and in college in the early 80s and mid 80s about this. I believe Oba Femi, University of Alabama grad, shot put, All-American, All-SEC in Tuscaloosa. I believe he has the momentum that a young Terry Bollea had in the mid-'80s, in the late 80s. Terry Bollea is Hulk Hogan. I believe he is at that point. From the look, from his stature, from the way he is able to communicate with his audience, his dialect that is a little stretch, but a Nigerian descent. You hear his music, and the cameras are panning around kids, young adults, black folks, white folks, men, women. They are in unison when his music comes on. He has a moniker when he is coming through Gorilla down the ramp that Hogan had. Hogan's music would hit, Patrick, in the early 90s. Everybody went ballistic. The animation from how he would walk down the aisle would get you in a fervor. Forget just getting in the ring. Oba Femi has the Oba strut. Kids are doing it. They're in unison in cadence with his music. He looks like a larger-than-life superhero. And he's the one guy that I believe I could put him in the squared circle. People will know him. And there's going to come a moment that we're going to know Oba Femi because Oba Femi is going to be making the rounds in pop culture. The View, Good Morning America, Today's Show. He's one of those. I believe, because I've never met Hunter Hearst Helmsley in my life, he wouldn't know me if I walked past him. I believe everyone involved, whether it's TKO, the company that runs WWE, the whole nine, everyone knows. That's it. He will face Brock Lesnar on Sunday night. On top of ESPN is showing the first hour of WrestleMania on Saturday and Sunday on regular ESPN. You don't even have to have the ESPN Unlimited app or whatever it is. That's $1 gazillion I pay for. I probably got like 7 of these prescriptions. They ain't told us. But man, I have not felt this way about a performer. Not someone that has potential that I can say, oh man, he's next. Roman was, I felt that way even when he was within his faction, The Shield, with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. I felt that way. But I felt that way from a standpoint of like, man, if they got something, they keep moving. From NXT, the first time I saw him, what he was able to do in his work rate in the ring, outside the ring, and of course, him just being thrust on the scene on the main roster with WWE. Forget star and megastar. I'm talking once in a lifetime. Like a guy that could be with this organization for 20 years and have one of those Cena. I call him one of those Mount Rushmore guys in the sport. The Cenas, the Ordens. I don't even know what to say. Like I get so excited to see him as a fan. And we're talking about Trick Williams has done amazing work. The young lady Io Sky is incredible. We know how great Charlotte Flair is. Charlotte Flair is a walking, talking Hall of Famer and has another lifetime to be great within that organization. But I'm just talking about true serum. You talk to anyone in that locker room or in that organization, in that building. Patrick, I just haven't. I would be shocked with the way that this thing appears to be going. This is his first WrestleMania. That this time next year, he is recognized as the Universal, whatever the top world champion is, heading into the next WrestleMania. Just don't see how there's any way possible that he does not have that belt on him and be recognized like as that sooner rather than later. What say you about just Oba Femi as a whole? I hadn't seen anything like that since Hogan. I'm just being honest.
I mean, he definitely has all the tools. The question to consider is whether the people in the office are also going to get behind him in that. Like, he's got to win. He got to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
He has to be Brock. Wrestling has surprised us.
Yes.
Would be utterly shocked if he does. Now, here's what I think. We don't know how this match will turn out. Is it going to be a rock'em sock'em robot 4-minute, as a Big E used to say, big meaty men wrestling? Yeah. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I love
big meaty men slapping meat.
Hey, dog, I love it. It's the best. Hey, when I see that clip, I cry laughing. Is it that? Do they go 8 minutes? Is part of said match the ambiance of in Allegiant Stadium and hear Brock's music? Everybody's gonna go crazy for the most part, but to hear Oba Femi, and they do these elongated entrances anyway for WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that's part of it. Then to get in the ring, like, are we talking 8 minutes, 10 minutes? Is Brock going to get the best of Oba Femi? Maybe like rush him as he gets in the ring, and then Oba takes over and then wins the fight, wins the wrestling match. I think that Brock Lesnar, as a man and as a performer, relative to agents and them running the match, I believe that Brock knows, everybody knows, Oba wins. You carry that momentum. There's a reason why you're starting the night on Sunday night, the big night, as everyone wants to say, with the card. I just don't see how in the world, in the end of this year, whether it's at SummerSlam, you hold off and and really have this thing on fire, him win the Royal Rumble next year, and then culminate it all with insert appointed here to win the heavyweight title at WrestleMania next year. WrestleMania is back in Saudi next year, right?
Yeah.
For the time being. Yeah, I mean, it was in Vegas. It was in Vegas. It was in Vegas until it wasn't in New Orleans last year. They changed it, flipped it there in Vegas. Business, as the great Dusty Rhodes said, business is business. We shall see. TBD. You can always get out of things, but no. I truly excited about him. He's the one guy that on the card in the organization that I'm just over the moon for. I will ask you, how much WrestleMania will you watch before we just kind of get into the card? We'll have a graphic up to show you some of these matches and whatnot. How much will you watch this weekend? It would be kind of like in passing, or will you Sunday night maybe sitting around like really dive into it?
It'll just be in passing.
Yeah.
It'll be clips on the internet. The last time I was watching wrestling, it was 100% exclusively AEW. I've kept up with that a lot more. Just the style of the wrestling inside the ring, the style of the storytelling. AEW reminds me of the wrestling that I liked when I was a kid. It harkens back to those territory days you were talking about. The WWE product now, I think, because it has so many corporate sponsors in it, it has kind of gotten sanitized a little bit. And I think the appeal of WWE, particularly in the Attitude Era, was just the car wreck nature, the punk rock-esque nature of the business. That's why guys like Stone Cold and The Rock got big. I think that's gone away a little bit. I can't get it. And it's not fair to criticize WWE for this, because there have always been celebrity.
It's what made them.
It's what
huge.
made it from Cyndi Lauper to Mr. T. But just seeing guys like Jelly Roll play a prominent role in wrestling, it's almost like the one critique I've always had. It's like wrestling doesn't feel like has this like self-grandizing prophecy that it's not enough just on its own.
Great point.
It's always acted like it's a redheaded stepchild to the NFL or the NBA. And because of that, it seems like it tries very, very hard to be like in the know. Whereas I think what I liked about ECW, what I liked about Ring of Honor, they were just like, no, wrestling's cool. We're just going to do it over here the way we want to do it. And if you want to watch, the big guys, you can go watch them. But like, we're going to do these cool little independent things over here. That's more my style. That's a long-winded die. I tried to just say, yeah, I'll catch the clips.
All right,
I do like Oba Femi though a lot.
That dude, he's got it, man. And he's just a lot. Saturday's card, before we dive into more wrestling talk, of course, the undisputed title, which is weird because we've not really discussed these two men, but Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton should tear the house down. But from the outside looking in, wrestling fans are pissed off with one Pat McAfee and being inserted into what many consider untouchable. You don't have to do anything. Just put those two guys in the ring. Let them tell the story. Second generation wrestlers.
Again, going back to wrestling, feeling like it's not, good enough just on its own. These are two guys who their Cody Rhodes' entire career is intertwined with Randy Orton, second generation wrestlers. But that story wasn't enough on its own. So here's Pat McAfee that comes in.
All I can say relative to mentioning AEW, and we'll talk about them in that organization in a big night last night. I guess what else are we going to do? We have to reserve judgment to see where this takes us. WWE Hall of Famer, Bully Ray from the Dudleys. I was listening to their podcast on wrestling podcast earlier today. Patrick, he mentioned this, and I was like, man, he's just dead on. Yeah, nobody likes it. I hadn't heard one person say, why is like, oh man, we love Pat McAfee's in this. Let's just see where it goes, what creative does. I kind of saw from a mile away that John Cena was going to kick Cody Rhodes in the you-know-what's a year ago. I'll be brutally honest. I have zero clue. I don't know what this is going to be. And then furthermore, where does this take you as you head into the PLE after this, which is their backlash after this? Is there a match? Does Jelly Roll Cup become an assist and help Cody Rhodes? So I don't know. Right. Yeah. I don't know. And so, man, I agree with you. A lot of fans are not happy about one Pat McAfee involved in this. But once again, you hit something home really, really good there. Sometimes I think the very thing that took wrestling to another level, which is MTV and pop culture and the great Cyndi Lauper and Mr. T, and to bring it into mainstream, sometimes is the very reason why it can turn people off, especially the diehard wrestling fan. Dollars and cents in business has to be conducted. So you have to have those things, and more dollars. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. You got to have it. But the sport is so good when it's done right, and the characters and the storylines, that even just a random person that knows nothing about wrestling just by chance flips over could fall in love with it just because it's just something away from the realities of the world, right? Or of, for real, as they like to say, balls and strikes from that standpoint. So, no, I agree with you. I'm interested to see where that takes us because I don't know. But that's going to be the main event of night one. We got a women's championship match between Stephanie Vercure and Liv Morgan. A lot of people are very intrigued in that. Your thoughts on Liv Morgan?
I saw she was on ESPN and her face was all busted.
Oh yeah. I believe 2 Monday nights ago, man. It was a spot and it
went a little south.
Yeah, it went south. She got
I saw she has a music video out now.
Music video is very popular.
They're trying to push her that way. It's probably a smart way.
Very smart way. Yeah. I love Liv Morgan. I think she's fantastic. I think Stephanie Vercure is chef's kiss. She's fantastic. I think they're going to have a really, really good match. We didn't know if Seth Rollins was going to be a part of WrestleMania 3 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden, ta-da! And now you're wrestling Gunther, who we thought he was going to have a big spot in WrestleMania, and then he kind of went away. Yeah, and now it's just like, out of nowhere, like, we got to put him in.
It was one of the few guys in WWE I actually really, really, really liked.
We loved him when he was in NXT.
Yeah, it was just a throwback. And then, it was just
how big would he be in the mid-'80s?
Oh.
He'd be so good.
Oh, they would, yeah. So he would have been, what was the Russian guy? The bad guy?
Not Nikolai Volkov.
Yeah.
Nikolai Volkov.
He would have been like a better version of him.
Nikolai Volkov. Remember he had Nikita Koloff in the NWA days. Man, he's a true epitome of a throwback. Just strongman style.
And again, it's what the fans are frustrated. It's the start and stop because people got behind him.
The legend killer and all this. Yeah. You got John Cena out of there, and then it was just like ghosted.
Yeah, we don't have anything for you.
Anything for you, big dog. And then all of a sudden, boop, ta-da, let's have a match. No one's going to be upset about this card. It's just kind of the things surrounding the card. Women's Intercontinental Championship, AJ Lee back at a WrestleMania with Becky Lynch. Intercontinental Championship match there. They got a fatal 4-way, man. Women's Tag Championship. That's a lot of bodies in there to try to have a match like that. Nia Jax, Lash Legend, the champs, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Lyra Valkyria, the Bella Twins. So you got all, like, that is a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to shake out. I got a sneaky suspicion, just future booking. I can see something goes south between Charlotte and Alexa. Charlotte breaks off from her and does her own thing. I don't know if the Bella Twins are the champions here. I can also see Bayley and Lyra falling out. Love Lash Legend. Love Nia Jax. Love Lash Legend. Lash is a former basketball standout, played in the WNBA. Just scratching the surface of what she can accomplish. Just a beautiful Amazon woman, like just a tall, statuesque woman. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm excited to see. I just want to see. I always get excited when you do 4-ways because I'm like, there are so many bodies, and a lot of stuff can go wrong.
Yeah.
Relative to being right. That's a big stage. You cannot have, as I like to say, deer eyes and big eyes as you walk out there. So
yeah,
we'll see. They have 2 matches I mentioned. They aforementioned ESPN that'll be on the first hour of that. So what that tells you is those 2 matches are going to be over before they go into the main card on the ESPN Unlimited Plus -34 plus 4 unsanctioned match. Here's my other guy that I love, Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
Now I've heard Jacob Fatu's name a lot in the independent circuit. Never really watched him, but I don't know what in the heck him and Drew McIntyre are about to get into. But that may be one of the better matches. It's unsanctioned, I guess, a street fight or whatever it may be. But
yeah.
That should be excellent. You like Jacob Fatu?
Another guy that would have been huge in the 80s.
Oh, Drew McIntyre. Oh,
Drew McIntyre and Fatu.
Fatu would have been outstanding because he could have been a babyface, which for those that don't know, is a good guy, or a heel, a bad guy, and he could have lived in both of those worlds and had a really, really good following. He would have been fantastic in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
He'd been unbelievable. He'd been great in WCW, been great in the mid-90s. He'd been fantastic. Drew McIntyre, legitimately, if there was no Hulk Hogan, he would be that's that guy.
Yeah.
He looks, him, Batista. I would say Brock, but actually I think Brock from a body standpoint looks better now than he did when he first started. He was just a
and Brock, so much of the mystique with him is when he came, but like went to the UFC.
Yeah.
That's when he got huge.
That's when he took off.
I mean, the dude made an NFL training camp roster ever, not playing football
D-tackle.
since he was in high
school.
school.
Of all positions, D-tackle.
He might be one of the best athletes. Like
he's a mutant
that's ever lived.
He's a mutant. Before he left. And I believe he had some health issues. Is that what, or he just?
Oh no, he got just mad. He just quit.
He just quit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quit.
There was a moment. I believe it may have been. You have to tell me because I just saw it from afar. Didn't he do a shooting star in a match?
Mm-hmm. So he did that back then at OVW. What was their kind of NXT back in the day? Yes. That used to be his finisher. And then he had a match against Kurt Angle, I believe WrestleMania 19.
It was a WrestleMania when he did it.
Which, a fun fact about that, that's the last, I think that might be the only WrestleMania main event where the 2 guys actually used their real names, shoot names, Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle.
No kidding.
Little fun fact. But yeah, I did that, almost broke his neck, shooting star press, didn't hit it. And then, yeah, I think got into a little scuttlebutt with Vince, left, had like a no-compete, so he went to Japan for a little bit. Over in Japan, he saw Pride fighting, starts taking up MMA, has like 3 MMA fights, and is the world champion.
I remember watching it. I was like, what in the world is going on
here? Yeah, he is a freakazoid.
He's a freakazoid.
Freakazoid athlete.
And I believe him and Shelton Benjamin were college teammates. And they wrestled together tight.
Yep.
Super, super tight. But yeah, man, you look back in the annals of wrestling, like that dude is a freak show.
Yeah.
Just an incredible, incredible athlete. I believe his lovely daughter is one of the better shot putters. I think she was a collegiate shot putter, I believe, or discus thrower or whatever. So just a house full of athletes, man, which is super, super awesome. We got a 6-man tag match. The other the other match that will be showcased on ESPN to start the festivities on Saturday is going to be Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and I Show Speed against the Usos in LA Knight. Your knee-jerk thoughts about what's happening?
This match is for the kids, right?
It's for the kiddies, man.
I show speed. I will say, going back to your thing about potential, they have not used him right, and it might be because of his own.
That's it.
Some guys develop it differently. Mm-hmm. Austin Theory has everything you could ask for.
Got it.
Something's just not clicking.
Got it. I don't know. Gosh, there's.
It reminds me a lot of like a high lottery pick in basketball, and you're like, the dude could shoot. He has a good handle, but like just something is not there. It's not clicking.
Yeah, and you didn't know when Vince at the time before he left with the angle they were going with him there and the pencil and all that stuff. And then he went away, and then he's with this faction with Paul Heyman and company. You know what I thought you were about to say? I thought you were about to say Logan Paul. And the reason why I say this, that dude, that guy, I don't know if he just wanted to fully commit to wrestling. Man, the sky is the limit. Yeah. But he just has too many hands and too many different pots, man.
Too much, yeah.
I just don't ever think he'll ever just fully immerse himself in that, because he probably makes way more money outside of the ring than he does inside the squared circle for him. Love the Usos. We know what they bring to the table for wrestling fans and those, and even just from a pop culture standpoint, the Yeet and stuff with Jay and his brother, and we know probably kids are out here doing you may have more kids or the same amount of kids doing the 6'7" deal along with the Yeet thing. LA Knight, we know his acumen within the ring as well. So yeah, first two matches of that night. We move to Sunday. I guess we'll just start with the big dog, CM Punk, Roman Reigns. Once again, by chance, I just was home for dinner break on Monday and happened to like watch the first few minutes, and I did have it muted. I was with my kid, whatnot, and I would assume that Roman and CM Punk will be in some form or fashion on Friday Night SmackDown. They have some sort of little intro montage with Roman Reigns at the beginning of Raw. There's been some social media stuff where he's been talking about CM Punk or whatnot. Their mic skills have been great. I've been having a chance to catch the majority of them. That's been fantastic, but it's almost like we didn't hear anything about them the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think we both know how we feel about Roman Reigns. You liked CM Punk back in the Ruthless Aggression era?
I did. He was kind of after. He came after. Well, I think it was still. The eras kind of get all mixed up. But he was the first kind of guy post the huge, LOL Cena wins era. Cena's contemporaries were. He really didn't have many. It was kind of like because Brock was kind of already happened. So post Rock and Stone Cold, you had guys like Eddie Guerrero, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. They were in that era. Then you move on to Cena, and then post Cena, you really get CM Punk for a bit before he makes his exit, and then you get into the Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, kind of the modern day. So CM Punk kind of bridged that gap, but now he is back, and didn't leave the first time on the best of terms.
Nope.
I think they've put all that behind them because, like you said, business is business. However, like you said, you can still see that water underneath that bridge.
Oh, yeah.
So I think some of these promos, particularly from Roman, have been tinged with a little bit of, I forgive, but I don't forget.
We don't forget.
So
we'd be utterly shocked if Roman Reigns does not win this championship on Sunday night. I would be shocked. I think AJ Lee is going to lose his better half.
You think they've given Punk his little run, and now they're like, hey.
I could be wrong.
We need all this back.
But I think that belt will not be his on Sunday. I think he knows that.
Yeah.
We shall see. But I think Roman Reigns wins for a lot of reasons headed into the second quarter of the wrestling calendar there. WWE Women's Championship match. Two of the best looking women and gimmicks I've seen ever. Rhea Ripley will take on Jade Cargill. Now, we were able to see Chyna in her heyday just as far as her physique. Patrick, I've never seen anything like Jade Cargill in her physique.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, what type of shape she's in. I remember I heard Triple H when she first came to WWE from AEW. I remember him saying in a post-show conference, he was a little shot at Tony Khan, but basically in a nutshell, and I'm completely paraphrasing, he basically said that she's got all the tools, yada, 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 but we have to teach her how to wrestle. Because basically, in paraphrase, like she sure in the hell didn't know how to do it over there. I want her to be the biggest super duper duper star of women's wrestling and just the sport so bad. And I hope that she continues to progress down that road because she just looks the part. Like, what else do you need when you see her? What else do you need when you see Rhea Ripley? You know, Rhea has really cut her chops in the ring and her acumen. She's fantastic. I hope they kind of have a strong woman type match where they're, testing feats of strength. And it doesn't have to last long. It doesn't have to be anything technical, but just show how powerful these women are would be chef's kiss for me in that match. The Demon Finn Balor going to take on Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio, to me, would be the true epitome of the honky-tonk man when I was growing up. Always the Intercontinental Champion, always was elite enough to be in the title mix, just wasn't able to get over the hump. The difference between him and Honky Tonk Man and Dominic Mysterio is I think Dominic Mysterio can actually be the champion and have some runs in his lifetime. He's got it, man. He's got the look. I love his demeanor. I love the way he talks. He can wrestle. I love everything about it. We know what Finn Balor is. Finn Balor, luck, timing. When the Universal title came out, where would he have been?
Yeah, just a
terrible luck.
When you go back 20 years from now and you do the sliding doors theory of what his career might look like,
unbelievable.
I mean, it's a testament to the fact that he's still even doing it. But man, you can't help but look at him and be like, what could have been?
He has the demon, the secondary demon, the Bullet Club stuff. The kids just fell in love with the demon, and the garb and the makeup. He's definitely going to wear that this weekend. I'm interested to see the pop that the kids and the fans give him with that.
It's just he's always been one of the guys who was like, go back to, okay, so he was the leader of Bullet Club in Japan. But after he left is when the Bullet Club really started to take off. Then he does the demon thing, gets to University NXT. He's in NXT. But the time NXT really starts to take off is the time where he's past it. Just a little bit. Then the same with the Universal title. Then he gets hurt. Then it really starts. So he's always been like just before the thing really hit its apex. That's not to say that he, maybe can't get that point, but although he is also up there in age.
Outside of Oba Femi, outside of, I would say the Demon, Finn Balor. I don't know if there'll be any other person to get a much larger pop than Trick Williams in the next match. It's the United States Championship on the line. Sami Zayn, the champion, against Trick Williams. Have a hard time believing they don't put the strap on Trick Williams there. But the Whoop That Trick and his moniker, and he can talk, and the outfits, I mean, he's got it. And the crazy part about it, when we mentioned Carmelo Hayes, like Carmelo and those two were in NXT and had a fantastic little run, little feud there. And it just seems like Trick is just continuing to get better and better and better. And what can alleviate you through your progression? Get over and have people singing your song and your moniker, for sure. The two matches that are going to be featured on the first hour, that aforementioned Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar. Then you got to now this right here, Sunday, should set the house on fire. I think it's a perfect booking for as far as you started with this match and then going into Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar. You got an Intercontinental Championship ladder match. How about these names? Penta, who's the champion, Javion Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio. We were mentioning mutants when we were talking about Brock Lesnar. Javion Evans is the mutant, is another mutant. That kid's like not even 20 years old and he just takes your breath away. Now we got ladders involved. As far as a fan interaction enjoyment, that's the one that's going to tear the house down to lead you into Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar. So I don't think just wrestling purists, and what I mean by fans of the sport, there's nothing wrong with the card. We're just trying to determine, like, how does it turn out?
Yeah, and maybe there are a lot of young guys in prominent positions, so maybe coming out of this is sort of that injection of youth that maybe the fans desperately want to see. Like you mentioned Javion Evans, like That I don't even know if that dude can legally drink yet.
No.
He can't rent a car.
He
That's
cannot.
for sure.
He cannot.
So,
But what a freak show.
yeah.
I mean, and what I like about him, you look at him and you look at his body composition and where he'll be at 25, he has the frame to be able to still do some of the things that he does, but maybe tone it down back a little bit as he continues his trajectory up the ladder within WWE as well. But that's going to be a fantastic match for sure. We'll leave with this before we head out. AEW had a big moment last night. I didn't watch it. I haven't recorded, but MJF, who I think is one of the 15 best talents in all of wrestling in the world, loses to Darby Allin last night after MJF defeated
Kenny
Omega Saturday. And I want to go back and watch that because I didn't watch it. I just get so impressed with MJF, his progression as a wrestler, learning the business as he's not even 30 years old yet. But to have Darby Allin, the only thing I saw was they were walking out. It was right before the break, and Sting came out and said, "It's your time." Yada yada. But did you have a chance to even watch it last night? Did you see any highlights?
Yeah, I did because it was a squash. That's
what they said. It took like 2 minutes.
So people were a little bit critical of that, but also from a storytelling standpoint, MJF has just came out of a grueling match against Kenny Omega. So then he has to defend the title against Darby Allin. And Darby Allin, being undersized, just rushes him and then ends up winning. Now, it was in Darby's hometown. It was made for a cool little moment. It made for a surprising moment. Again, hearkening back to the Attitude Era. I know people talk about that a lot, but that is when wrestling was the most dominant culturally. Like even it had gained momentum since Hogan and then Austin and The Rock with the rise of cable TV. Like people in America were just watching that. It was chaos. Every Monday night was chaos. There were people running out all the time. Belts were changing hands. Like when I talk about the sanitation of WWE, like that's what I mean. Like you can just kind of tell where this is going. So AEW being the alternative and what it's doing has a surprise. And again, it's fiction. Like these guys aren't actually fighting. So you can make it up as you go. You can have these cool things that happen.
There's just always avenues you could always go to in match, during the match, before the match, which makes it really cool. Yeah, I'm excited to watch, just see how it turned out. I just want to see their entrances. I want to see like the post reaction of the fan. I bet you it's probably a really good pop.
Yeah, it was massive. And you said MJF was top 15. I think top 5.
He's incredible.
He's way, way up there.
Wrestling is very unique that you could be in one building today and walk 15 feet across the street and be in another building the next day. Have a hard time believing he does not dip his toe into WWE sometime down the line.
Some point down the line, but
or what happens
like we talked about, Flair in his heyday, it was only 2 years.
That was it.
And then it was back, and he was still a massive star.
Massive star.
So, and if MJF has other aspirations, which I know he does, he's been in movies. He was in Happy Gilmore 2. So it's not like AEW is handicapping him from being the star that he wants to be. I think he's starting to rise up there. When you have Adam Sandler being asked about MJF in interviews, who is not on WWE, like that's a pretty big deal. So, and again, man, like some people's styles just fit better to certain things. It's no different than like football or basketball. Like I think MJF just fits better in AEW. If he goes to WWE, he's going to be amongst a land of dudes who were 6'4". It's just going to look different, but he can play to his strengths in AEW, and obviously it's successful.
Maxwell Jacob Freeman is a hell of a talent. The very best mic skills by far right now in all of wrestling.
I would say so, because I think he is the best at blurring that line between fiction and reality.
Dreamland scenario. Could you imagine The Rock and MJF back and forth?
Back in the day?
Be so
or, I mean, like you said, will he ever step foot in WWE? I mean, probably. At some point, the money's just going to be too much.
Money, man. Yeah. I just, the WWE machine does not seem like it's going to be stopping anytime soon, especially with ESPN and TKO Holdings and the whole nine. But yeah, man,
El Grande Americano in AAA. You have Ludwig Kaiser, who is now a German dude playing an American dude who's now the top babyface in Mexico.
That is good.
Going up against Chad Gable's original El Grande Americano.
This is happening this week?
It's at Triple Mania, which I don't know that. They're doing mask versus mask.
I thought, okay, didn't Triple Mania happen a couple of weeks ago? I don't know this. I thought I saw a little bit.
I think it's coming up.
Man, you want to talk about hey Patrick, you want to talk about a crowd, AAA. Shout out, and here's what I love. This is one thing I just got a lot of respect for with the wrestling business, that everybody is like collaborating together. That's the other part. You would never see, like, the territories, you would see it all the time, but we couldn't see it because it wasn't visible to us. We didn't have cell phones and social media and stuff like that. But no, I think it's super cool that WWE allows Natty to go to another organization and wrestle. And Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic, has a title in AAA. Or, I mean, he may have the title. I don't know. But, you know, we see what AEW is allowed to do. TNA allowing guys to come in and out. So, yeah, no, I think it's super, super cool. It's funny you mentioned it as far as just a really good gimmick. I love that gimmick. Like, as far as Chad and Kaiser is a really good talent, man. That's the crazy part.
And he can speak Spanish.
It's hilarious.
And so you have to really get on. It's at the upcoming pay-per-view. It's not Triple Mania. I don't remember what it is.
Oh, okay.
But you have to get on the Mexican side of TikTok to really understand how big of a guy
it's huge.
They love this dude. Love him.
So he entertains you.
Yes,
they're very good.
Is
him and Chad Gable together, or no? They're
separate.
They're separate.
Yeah, because remember,
I see him every so often.
Remember, Chad Gable got hurt.
That's right.
And so they Ludwig Kaiser assumed the identity of El Grande Americano, had the mask. And then Chad Gable came back. Like, it's all telenovela type stuff. Like, they're playing into it. Undertaker is booking AAA.
Is it?
So there are these fantastic graphics that these fans have made, being like, you have been entertained by, like, courtesy of the Undertaker. Fans have they got into a huge altercation this past episode. So fans are doing like these romantic era and like Renaissance era paintings of El Grande Americano. Like, it's just, he's really captivated that fan base, and I think it's because people can appreciate the genuine nature of it. And again, it also helps that he speaks Spanish.
He speaks Spanish, so
fluid Spanish. It's just
going crazy in there.
They love it. Yeah, they absolutely love it.
AAA, where is AAA? Where can you find that at?
Oh, Mexico.
Do they have it on YouTube, or is it an actual station?
And I'm sure it's probably on the ESPN. Yeah, thing too.
I'm gonna check it out. I did not.
AAA, yep.
Yeah, they had a previous Rey Mysterio beat somebody. Dominic Mysterio just beat somebody in a AAA preview they had on there. Maybe in that Triple Mania.
Yeah.
But the crowd is incredible, man.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so good. Like, subscribe. Listen, you took a trip down memory lane. You did. Enjoy it. Breathe it. Believe it. It's WrestleMania week, man. Watch a little bit of some of it. Why not? You can like, subscribe to this podcast. It's on iTunes, the Spotify, or where podcasts are available. We are currently on YouTube. We are on WAFF.com. We are on our 48 Sports Zone app that's gaining momentum and steam as we head into the summer months. And, of course, you can always just leave us a 5-star review. Listen, I'll just put a challenge out to everybody. Send a review, top 3 favorite wrestlers, and leave us a good 5-star review along with that. So we will look back and recap WrestleMania. Patrick's probably gonna be pissed off and not.
If we're gonna do that, I'll watch it.
Watch the whole thing, and we got to give a grade. We're gonna go through all the matches.
Wait, I don't have the ESPN. You gotta give me your login.
I'll give you. I
don't have the ESPN
I swear thing. I will give you a login. You can have it forever.
I'm done with. No more. We are tapped out on subscriptions.
Don't even. We're leading with that next week.
Yeah, I'm over it.
We have every channel known to mankind and every streaming app.
Yeah.
And we have cable.
Oh.
We got a lot going on, dog.
Yeah, you're shelling out cash.
That I don't have.
Yeah.
Another story for another day. For producer Pat, I'm Carl Prather. Enjoy WrestleMania, man. Watch a little bit of it for us. We'll watch it. We'll recap it next week. Have a good and safe weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.